Hey everybody, it's Sunday night again. It's time to play some records. And tonight we're going to talk about Cole Porter. I grew up listening to my grandfather's record collection, which is kind of why I have this and I do this, because I grew up listening to this music and loving it. And so I heard, Cole Porter songs for a long time. I did not even know who I was listening to or what I was listening to. And then as I got older and I moved to New York and learned a little bit more about musical theater and history and the entertainment industry, I got to know about Cole Porter. I don't know how much I may give some details that you guys already know, but I mean, he was one of the main contributors to the American songbook. His songs are witty and urbane and smart, and they endure as standards even today. A lot of his lyrics were tongue-in-cheek. Mr. Porter was definitely gay. He would write lyrics that, if looked at in one way, might send a signal to other gays. A good example is the song "You're the Top," which goes, "You're the top, you're the Coliseum, you're the top, you're the Louvre Museum. I'm a total wreck, a worthless check, a flop. But if baby I'm the bottom, you're the top." Which I'm not sure what show that was used in, but if you listen to that, you definitely hear some coded messages. He was born into a wealthy family in Indiana in 1891. Just as an example, when his grandfather died in 1923, he was the sole survivor of that family. He got all the estate and $1 million cash. In 1923, Cole Porter had $1 million cash. He really never suffered for anything. He married a wealthy divorcee in Paris. She had lots of money too, so they had a very nice life together. They came to New York in the 1930s, and he had many successful shows and lots of great songs. And we're going to go through some of those. So, I kind of promised you guys that we would do a Cole Porter retrospective and kind of talk about his influence in the 20th century music scene. But the fact of the matter is that my collection really is limited to easy listening. So, we're going to discuss Cole Porter's contributions to mid-century hi-fi entertainment. The problem with doing a theme show is you realize that you have lots of gaps in your collection. Like, I don't have Blow, Gabriel Blow by Ethel Merman, and I don't have You Do Something to Me, even by Sinatra, which is the song that I remember. I'm missing You're the Top. I actually had ordered the soundtrack to Evil Under the Sun, and Diana Rigby sings You're the Top in that movie, and it has not arrived yet. So I'm also missing a great one, Miss Otis Regrets, which Bette Midler did on her 1990 album, Some People's Lives. Or Ella Fitzgerald actually did it too in one of her albums. So there's gaps, but we're gonna have some fun. I want to show you. Cole Porter. There are so many albums that are dedicated to Cole Porter. Here we've got an entire album by Stanley Black. It's all Cole Porter. This guy named Joe Bushkin, who is a pianist, I get a kick out of Porter. Nelson Riddle did an entire album of Cole Porter's musical Can Can. This is a promotional record. It's called The Best of Cole Porter. It's something that would come with your stereo. Johnny Mathis did a whole album of Broadway rhythms, and there's a lot of Cole Porter in there. A group called the Kirby Stone 4 from the 60s actually did, got a little post-it there, did Let's Do It, and that's on that album. Ray Conniff, I love Ray Conniff. There's Cole Porter songs all throughout. And then I have to mention, Carolyn Teague, if you're watching, my friend from Mount Vernon, she actually put in a request for the song True Love, and I could not find it in any of my albums. So Carolyn, Brian and I actually went up to Half Price Books this morning and found True Love on this album. But as fate would have it, it is the last song on side B, and the stylus on this stereo won't go that far. So I can't play it for you. She's like a third of my fan base, so I hate to disappoint a fan. But here we go. We're going to start with What Is This Thing Called Love, which Cole wrote in 1929 for a Broadway musical called Wake Up and Dream. And this is Keely Smith singing it. It's from an album called Swingin' Pretty. It is quite festive. I think you'll enjoy it. This is, and she recorded this in 1959. You know, it's fascinating. He wrote it in 1929, and 30 years later, it was recorded many times over. But we're going to hear Keely Smith do What Is This Thing Called Love. I got to find it. Oh, gee. This is the last track on this album, this side too. It may not work. We'll see. Turn up the volume. Put this over here. We're off to a slow start. This is 50-year-old machinery. It's kind of tricky. All right, let's see if I can get this to work. Let's see if this works. I'm thrilled that we actually made it all the way through the song. So again, there's something wrong with the stereo. The stylus won't go all the way to where it should. Actually, it did that time, but most of the time we can't play the last song on the side of a record. The next song is Love for Sale. This is written for a Broadway musical called The New Yorkers in 1930. The song is written from the viewpoint of a prostitute. When the song came out in 1930, newspapers labeled it as being in bad taste. Radio stations wouldn't play it. And Porter took the song up to the Cotton Club in Harlem, and they picked it right up. They thought it was a great song, and they started performing it. Seal actually recorded a version of this song in his 2017 album, Standards. We're going to listen to Peter Duchin, who is Eddie Duchin's son, play this song, Love for Sale. And it is... You know, I really should write this down before the show. It's song 3 on side 2. Peter Dushan had the famous father, Eddie Dushan, who there was a movie made about his life. And he's just as good as pianist as his father was. All right, here we go. 1, 2, 3. Hey, how about that? That song was recorded in 1962, that version of it, but Cole Porter wrote it in 1930. So a full 32 years after he wrote the song, it was still being performed. Next up is probably one of his best known songs, Night and Day. It was written in 1932 for a Broadway show called The Gay Divorce, which was Fred Astaire's last Broadway show. And then Fred made the move out to Hollywood, and he was in the 1934 film version of that Broadway musical called The Gay Divorcee, in which also starred him, obviously. So this album, the Steve Lawrence sound, we're going to hear Night and Day. This is one of Steve's very, 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 very first albums from 1960. Night and Day. Actually, what's interesting is the first song on side 1 is Begin the Beguine, which is another Cole Porter song, but we're not going to listen to that one. We're going to listen to Night and Day. And it's easy because it's the first song, so the player can do it all by itself.
Like the beat, beat, beat of the tom-tom when the jungle shadows fall. Like the tick-tick-tock of the stately clock as it stands against the wall. Like the drip, drip, drip of the raindrop when the summer shower is through. So a voice within me keeps repeating, you, night and day, you are the one. It's only you beneath the moon and under the sun. Whether near to me or far, it doesn't matter where you are, I think about you night and day. the silence of my lonely room, I think about you. Night and day, night and day, under the height of me. There's such a hungry yearning burning inside of me, and its torment won't be through till I spend my life making love to you day and night, night and day, night and day, under the height of me. There's a yearning burning down deep inside of me, and its torment won't ever be through till you let me make love to you day and night, night and day, like the beat, beat, beat of the tom-tom when the jungle shadows fall. I wanna love you night and day.
That is the Steve Lawrence Las Vegas sound. And that a Cole Porter song makes it work. The next one up is I Get a Kick Out of You, which is from the 1934 Broadway musical Anything Goes. This is kind of interesting. So I just got this album. It's called 77 Sunset Strip. The orchestra is Warren Barker, and he did all the music for this show, which was a big hit back in 1958, 1959. And throughout the show, there was obviously music in different scenes, and one of them is in a nightclub, and he performs a version of I Get a Kick Out of You. And this is a really fun, snappy version of this. It is number 3 on side 1. I think you'll like this. I actually shared this on my Facebook page like a week ago. But I think it's hilarious. This entire album dedicated to 77 Sunset Strip. And here we go. I'm getting pretty good at this. Aha! Give it a minute. The first version I heard of this song actually was by Frank Sinatra. So this is fascinating. So again, I said this is from the 1934 Broadway musical Anything Goes. In the 1936 film version, he had to write alternative lyrics in the second verse because the song refers to cocaine, and that was not allowed by the production code of 1934. The original verse is this: some get a kick from cocaine. I'm sure that if I took even one sniff, that would bore me terrifically too, yet I get a kick out of you. And so Porter changed the first line simply to, some like the perfume in Spain. I'm sure that if I took even one sniff, that would bore me terrifically too, yet I get a kick out of you. And I've heard Sinatra sing it both ways, but I kind of like the original better. The next one up is from a 1934, also from Anything Goes. Yep. This is Diane Carroll from 1962 singing Easy to Love. And Easy to Love is number 2 on side 1. That's not too bad. Isn't she beautiful? Hey, how about that? First try.
What a shame that you can see your future with me, 'cause you'd be so crazy but easy to love. So easy to love, so easy to idolize, all others above, so a yearning for, so swell to keep every home fire burning. We'd be so grand at the game, so carefree together, that it does seem a shame that you can't see your future with me, 'cause you'd be so easy to love.
She has a beautiful voice. It's like silk. This is the only Diane Carroll album that I have, and I think I need to get more. I'm going to turn off the record player real quick so that I can pull off these records. And because I've got 6 on them right now, and that's almost too many. Now I can play the next one. The next one is Begin the Beguine. This was from 1935. He actually wrote it while he was just cruising the Pacific. No particular reason. It has some very Polynesian rhythms to it, and that makes sense. It was introduced in a show called Jubilee on Broadway in 1936. The version we're going to play is from 1959 by Werner Mueller, who was a German a popular American composer, but actually was from Germany, Mueller. Technically, there should be a accent over the U, but this album doesn't have it. And I grew up listening to this album. My grandfather had this in his collection, and I listened to it as a child, and I love it. Every song on here is great. Begin to Beguine is... I could have done this before, you know. Oh, it's number 3 on side 2. Turn it back on. I love this lady on the front. She looks festive. Wow, I'm getting really good at that. This entire album is actually really good. Again, I grew up with this album. It was in my grandfather's collection that my mother inherited. And one word, lush. I mean, every song on here is just lush. The smoke gets in your eyes. I know I'm getting off topic, but like I cannot recommend this album enough. The song that's next up is, I don't know much about this performer. His name is Warren Keim, and he kind of had a little bit of a heyday in the late 60s where he combined the brass section with voices. And he came out with an album in 1967 called Brass Impact, and then he came out with another one in '68 that's called like Brass Impact 2. The song that we're going to play is a Cole Porter song, in the Still of the Night, which is from the 1937 MGM musical Rosalie. I have never seen that. Sean Griffin, my friend who's a professor of film at SMU, could probably educate me about that, but I know nothing about it. This album is pretty fancy. It actually opens up. So you got the cover here, and it opens up, and they literally have some text for every single song on the record. So we're going to play In the Still of the Night. This is kind of a snazzy number. You can kind of tell why this guy was popular for a minute, because this one is kind of a toe tapper. It is song number 1 on side 2, Easy Peasy. Rather snazzy. It's fun to listen to. The last song we're going to play tonight is actually from a Les Baxter album. I love Les Baxter. He does a lot of good stuff. He also does a lot of stuff that I don't like. I'm not particularly fond of his tiki stuff. But before he got into the Polynesian thing, he actually put out some really great albums that, in my opinion, and we're going to listen to the last song of the night is, well, I Concentrate on You. Actually, I have 2 more songs, so maybe it's not the last night. We'll see if you guys want to go further. This is I Concentrate on You. It was written in 1940. Sean, you're going to like this. It was written in 1940 for the MGM film Broadway Melody of 1940. And Broadway Melody of 1940 is the 4th and final of MGM's Broadway Melody series, and is notable for being the only on-screen pairing of Fred Astaire and Jane Powell, who were considered the finest film musical dancers of their time. I don't know how that's possible if this is the only film that they appeared in, but that's what Wikipedia told me. So I probably could have verified that with you first, Sean. I Concentrate on You is song 3 on side 2. Yeah, here we go. This is from so Les Baxter recorded this in 1966, and this song was introduced in 1940. That's quite an enduring legend. Ooh, hold on. Not that song. This song. This album is another one of those albums that's like, the word is lush. I mean, it's got orchestration all over the place, and it's beautiful. And they're actually, so I thought I was done, but I actually have 2 more songs I'm going to try. This one I know I can play. This is that Nelson Riddle album that I mentioned at the beginning. This is music of the motion picture Can Can. So everything on here was written by Cole Porter, but we're going to listen to It's All Right With Me, which was written for the Broadway musical Can Can, but it's also used in 1956's High Society. All the songs in High Society were also written by Cole Porter. This is Nelson Riddle's rendition in 1960, so only a couple years later. It's All Right With Me is the very first song on side 1. I love that these albums, I pointed out before, it says played for dancing. So the whole purpose of these albums back in the 50s and 60s was to that you could have the music that was in the movies in your house for your dinner parties or your little private dance parties. And everyone was doing the foxtrot and the box dance and all the popular dances of the day. But you could now have the movies in your home. So I actually have one more song that we can play. I'm not sure it's going to work again because this stereo is being temperamental. But I mentioned at the very beginning that I went to find the song "True Love" for my friend Carolyn Teague in Mount Vernon, and we found it. But I'm not sure the stereo is going to let us play it because it may be too far in. But we're going to try. It is the very last song on side 1. True Love, Steve and Edie Gourmet. Steve Lawrence and Edie Gourmet. This album came out, I'm not really sure, it's late 70s or early 80s. Oh yeah, it won't let me. That is so bizarre. Carolyn, I really tried, but here's the pretty album cover. Steve and Edie at the movies. And here they are in a staged rehearsal picture. Isn't that lovely? Guys, it's been a lot of fun. I may do 1 or 2 more of these. The next one may be Hi-Fi Plays Jazz, or maybe Hi-Fi Plays Piano. There's like a lot of stuff that's based on the piano. We'll see. But it's been fun, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.